Hey guys, welcome back. So in this session, we will see what is cloud computing and many things related to cloud computing. All right. So we will see everything we need to know about the cloud computing. So you can see on the screen. So in simple terms, cloud computing is the delivery of on-demand computing services from applications to storage and processing power typically over the internet and on a pay as you go basis. All right. So cloud computing is the delivery of very on demand computing services, and it will be typically over the internet, and you have to apply for the pay as you go basis. All right. So rather than owning their own computing infrastructure or data centers, companies can rent access to anything from applications to storage from a cloud service provider. One benefit of using cloud computing service is that the firms can avoid the extreme cost and complexity of owning and maintaining their own IT infrastructure and instead simply pay for what they use and when they use it. In turn, providers of cloud computing can benefit from significant economies of scale by delivering the same services to a wide range of customers. So, cloud computing services cover a vast range of options now, from the basics of storage, networking, and processing power through to natural language processing and artificial intelligence, as well as standard office applications. Pretty much any service that doesn't require you to be physically close to the computer hardware that you are using can now be delivered via the cloud. So, what are the examples of cloud computing then? Cloud computing has a vast number of services. This includes consumer services like Gmail or the cloud backup of the photos on your smartphone, though to the services which allow large enterprises to host all their data and run all of their applications in the cloud. Netflix and many other majors rely on cloud computing services to run their video streaming service and its other business systems also, and have a number of other organizations. So, cloud computing is becoming the default options for many applications. Software vendors are increasingly offering their applications as services over the internet rather than standalone products as they try to switch to a subscription model. However, there is a potential downside to cloud computing in that it can also introduce new costs and new risks for companies that use them. So, why do we call it as cloud computing? So, a fundamental concept behind cloud computing is that the location of the service and many of the details, such as the hardware or operating system on which it is running, are largely irrelevant to the user. It's with this in mind that the metaphor of the cloud was borrowed from old telecom network schematics, in which the public telephone network was often represented as a cloud to denote that the just didn't matter. It was just a cloud of stuff. This is an oversimplification, of course. For many customers, location of their services and data remains a key issue. Now, let's see why cloud computing is important. Cloud computing is perhaps the most flamboyant technological innovation of the 21st century. This is because it has seen the fastest adoption into the mainstream than any other technology in the domain. This adoption has been fueled mainly by the ever increasing number of smartphones and mobile devices that can access the internet. Cloud computing is not just for organizations and business, it is also useful for the average person as well. It enables us to run software programs without installing them on our computers, and it enables us to store and access our multimedia content via the internet. It enables us to develop and test programs without necessarily having servers and so on. Cloud computing is a 21st century marvel that holds its importance in almost every field you can think of. Most of us might be certainly asking ourselves the critical questions: why do we need cloud computing? Basically, we need cloud computing because of the numerous individual and business problems that we encounter today. These problems range from acquiring and maintaining expensive hardware and software resources that we use in our daily operations to streamline these resources in the most efficient manner for our benefit and the benefit of the society as well. In handling these challenges, cloud computing offers numerous benefits that have surpassed our expectations and delivered more than we had actually thought of. Now, we will discuss some benefits of cloud computing for the business point of view. So, why is cloud computing important for the business? So, pooled computing resources available through cloud computing have been proven to offer tremendous benefits to business organizations. Unraveling are these benefits broadly classified into three categories that include efficiency, flexibility, and strategic value. So, what about efficiency then? So, efficiency in business operations is achieved in the ways discussed through the use of cloud computing. So, the first one is accessibility. Cloud computing facilitates the access of applications and data from any location worldwide and from any device with an internet connection. Then the cost savings. Cloud computing offers business with scalable computing resources, hence saving them on the cost of acquiring and maintaining them. These resources are paid for on a pay as you go basis, which means business pay only for the resources they use. This has proven to be much cheaper than acquiring the resources on their own. Then comes the security. Cloud provides the cloud providers, especially those offering private cloud services, have strived to implement the best security standards and procedures in order to protect clients' data saved in the cloud. Then finally, the disaster recovery. Cloud computing offers the most efficient means for small, medium, and even large enterprises to back up and restore their data and applications in a fast and reliable way. Then the next point is flexibility. Flexibility is achieved in the ways discussed when using cloud computing. So the first one is scalability. Cloud computing is the best option for business with fluctuating workloads since cloud infrastructure scales depending on the demands of the business. Then we have tools selection. Cloud computing allows business to select specific pre-built tools and features to derive solutions tailored to their specific needs. Then cloud options. Cloud computing offers private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud solutions, each with different features. Organizations can choose these options depending on what best servers they need. Best servers they need. Then finally, control choices. Business can determine their level of control with as a service options offered by the cloud provider. These options include software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. Then finally, the strategic edge. Cloud computing allows business to gain a strategic edge in their niche in the ways discussed. The first one is increased productivity. Cloud computing provides cloud computing cloud service providers acquire and manage underlying cloud infrastructure, hence enabling business to focus their energies on their core business operations. Automatic service updates, software updates. All the software applications that are accessed through the cloud are usually up to date. This enables business to access the latest features without having to maintain the systems themselves. Then we have competitiveness. Business that employ cloud computing are able to maneuver more nimbly as compared to competitors who devote their energies to acquire and maintain the IT resources. Then finally, we have increased collaboration. With the capabilities of cloud computing, individuals from different places can collaborate in business projects without necessarily having to meet. So this was about what is cloud computing and why is cloud computing important and why is cloud computing important for business, because literally every business is adapting the cloud service now. All right. So next we will see why cloud computing is the future. Considering the numerous benefits that cloud computing offers to the organizations, a fair case can be made that cloud computing is increasingly becoming the new normal. Cloud computing is helping the society to cope with future problems such as managing big data, cyber security, and quality control. In addition to this, emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, distributed ledger technology, and many other capabilities are becoming available as services through cloud computing. Consequently, these technologies to be adaptable to various platforms such as mobile devices, hence increasing their use. Innovations based on cloud computing, such as cloud automation and the industry cloud, are also being developed to integrate cloud computing into more specific industrial activities, which will make various operations even more streamlined. The final verdict for cloud computing is that it's a transformational technology that has helped organizations in different manner to deliver products and services in a better way than before. Then we will see what is Microsoft Azure. So Azure is a cloud computing platform which was launched by Microsoft in Feb 2010. It is an open and flexible cloud platform which helps in development, data storage, service hosting, and service management. The Azure hosts web applications over the internet with the help of Microsoft data centers. So we first saw what is cloud computing, right? So cloud computing is a term referred to storing and accessing of data over the internet. It does not store any data on the hard disk of your personal computer or mobile phone. In cloud computing, you access the data from a remote server. So now we will see what is Azure and types of Azure clouds, then what are the key concepts in Azure, then Azure domains, then traditional versus Azure cloud model, then applications of Azure, advantages and disadvantages of Azure. All right. So first, let's start with types of Azure clouds. So there are mainly three types of clouds in Microsoft Azure. They are the platform as a service, then software as a service, infrastructure as a service. All right. So we have many application services like Binge, Windows Live, Microsoft Office, all right, Microsoft Advertising, and we have different software services like Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, Office Communications Online, and we have many platform services like SQL Azure .NET services, then live services, SharePoint services, all right, all these things. So what is Azure as infrastructure as a service? So infrastructure as a service is the foundational cloud platform layer. This service is used by the IT administrators for processing, storage, networks, and any other fundamental computer operations. It is the one of the Azure topics to learn that allows users to run arbitrary software. So when we say infrastructure, it means whatever in whatever platform is necessary to run the software applications. That is the meaning of infrastructure. So what are the advantages of platform as a service? No, infrastructure as a service. So the advantages of infrastructure as a service is that it offers efficient design time portability. It is advisable for the application which needs complete control. Infrastructure as a service offers quick transition of services to clouds. The apparent benefit is that it frees you from the concerns of setting up many physical or virtual machines. It helps you to access, monitor, and manage the data centers. So these are the advantages of infrastructure as a service. Then what are the disadvantages then? So it has plenty of security risks from unpatched servers. Some companies have defined process for testing and updating on-premise servers vulnerabilities, and this cannot be done with Azure. Next, we will see Azure as platform as a service. Platform as a service is a computing platform which includes an operating system, programming language, execution environment, database, or web services. This Azure service is used by developers and application providers. As its name suggests, this platform is provided to the client to develop and deploy the software. It is one of the Azure basic concepts which allows the client to focus on the application development instead of worrying about hardware and infrastructure. It also takes care of operating systems, networking, and server issues. Then what are the advantages of platform as a service? The total cost is low as the resources are allocated on demand and servers are automatically added or subtracted. Azure is less vulnerable because servers are automatically checked for all known security issues. The entire process is not visible to the developer, so it does not have a risk of data breach. Then what are the disadvantages? The portability issues can occur when you use platform as a service. There may be different environment at Azure, so the application needs to adapt accordingly. Then finally, Azure as software as a service. Software as a service is the software which is centrally hosted and managed. It is a single version of the application that is used for all the customers. You can scale out to multiple instances. This helps you to ensure the best performance in all locations. The software is licensed through a monthly or annual subscription. Microsoft Exchange, Office, Dynamics are offered as software as a service. Then let's go to the topic Azure key concepts. Now in this Azure basics for the beginners, we will learn the different Azure key concepts shown on the screen. So these are very important to learn the Azure fundamentals. The first concept is the regions. The second one is the data center. The third is the Azure portal, then the resources, all right, then the resource groups, resource manager templates, then automation, then we have Azure PowerShell, then we have command line interface, then finally we have REST APIs. So all these are the concepts of Azure. The first one is regions. Azure is a global cloud platform which is available across different regions around the world. When you request a service, application, or virtual machine in Azure, you are first asked to specify a region. The selected region represents data center where your application will run. Okay. Then we have data centers. The data center in Azure, you can deploy your applications into a variety of data centers around the globe. So it is advisable to select a region which is closer to most of your customers. It helps you to reduce latency in network requests. Azure portal is the next thing. The Azure portal is a web-based application which can be used to create, manage, and remove Azure resource and services. And it is located at portal.azure.com. So this was about the Azure portal. The next we have is resources. The Azure resource is an individual computer, networking data, or application hosting services which charge individually. Some common resources are virtual machines, storage account, or SQL databases. Then we have resource groups. An Azure resource group is a container which holds related resource for an Azure solution. It may include every resource or just resource which you want to manage. Then we have resource manager templates. So it is a JSON which defines one or more resource to deploy to a resource group. It all establishes dependencies between deployed resources. Then we have automation. Azure allows us to automate the process of creating, managing, and deleting the resource by using PowerShell or the Azure command line interface. So next we have is Azure PowerShell. PowerShell is a set of modules that offer commands to manage the Azure. In most cases, you are allowed to use the commands for the same tasks which you are performing in the Azure portal. The next we have is the Azure command line interface. The Azure CLI is a tool that you can use to create, manage, and remove Azure resources from the command line. Then finally, we have REST APIs. So REST APIs are very important. So REST stands for Representational State Transfer. Azure is built on a set of REST APIs that help you perform the same operation that you do in Azure Portal UI. It allows your Azure resources and applications to be manipulated via any third-party software application. So all these are the Azure key concepts. You can just look at the screen and understand and recall them once again. So the next one is Azure domains. So now let's learn the Azure key components. So in the Azure key components, we have compute, storage, database, security plus identity, integration services, content delivery network, monitoring, networking, mobile services, workflows, and web services. So these are the main Azure components. So the first one is compute. It offers computing operations like application hosting, development, and deployment in Azure platform. It has the components such as virtual machines, virtual machine scale sets, then Azure Container Service, Azure Container Registry, functions, batch, service fabric. So virtual machine allows us to deploy any language workload in any operating system. The virtual machine scale set allows to create thousands of similar virtual machines in minutes. The next is Azure Container Service. It creates a container hosting solution which is optimized for Azure. You can scale and arrange applications using Kube, DC/OS, Swarm, or Docker. Then we have Azure Container Registry. This service stores and manages container images across all types of Azure deployments. Then we have functions. So the functions let you write code regardless of infrastructure and provisioning of servers. In the situation when your functions call scales up. Then we have batch. Batch processing helps you to scale to tens, hundreds, or thousands of virtual machines and execute computer pipelines. Then finally, we have service fabric. They simplify microservice-based application development and lifecycle management. It supports Java, PHP, Node.js, Python, and Ruby. The next is storage. Azure Storage solution is for the modern applications. It is designed to meet the needs of their customers' demands and scalability. It allows you to store and process hundreds of terabytes of data. The components of storage is blob storage, queue storage, file storage, and table storage. So blob storage is a service which stores unstructured data in the cloud as objects or blobs. You can store any type of text or binary data, such as a document, media file, or application installer. The next one is queue storage. It provides cloud messaging between application components. It delivers asynchronous messaging to establish communication between application components. Then we have file storage. Using Azure file storage, you can migrate legacy applications. It relies on file shares to Azure quickly and without costly rewrites. Then the last one is table storage. Azure Table Storage stores semi-structured NoSQL data in the cloud. It provides a key attribute or a key value storage with a schema-less design. Then we have database. This category includes database as a service, which offers SQL and NoSQL tools. It also includes databases like Azure Cosmos DB and Azure Database for PostgreSQL. It has the following components: SQL databases, so it is a relational database service in the Microsoft cloud based on the market leading Microsoft SQL server engine. Then we have Document DB. It is a fully managed NoSQL database service which is inbuilt for fast and predictable performance and ease of development. Then we have Redis Cache. It is a secure and highly advanced key value store. It stores data structures like strings, hashes, lists, etc. So these are the three Azure domains we have discussed in this session. Let's discuss the remaining in the next session and also a few other topics. All right. Write to us if you have any doubts. Thank you.